DJ Renegade. I'm from London in the UK. I've been on the hip-hop dance scene since 1982. I danced before, but just socially with my family, of course. When hip-hop hit the UK in 1982, I was one of the first generation that got involved. I danced actively until about 1988. In 1986 I started DJing, so there was a little bit of an overlap, and then I've been DJing ever since, and I've been around the dance scene and got more active recently, teaching and stuff. I guess it would have to be the television. There was a big media push in the early 80s when new fashions came from America. So before hip hop there was skateboarding, there was roller skating, there was even hula hoop, right? So these things were promoted by the media, and then all the kids did them, and then they brought the next fad, and hip hop was just the next fad to come in. So most people of my generation got involved in hip hop at some level, and I was one of those kids. So you see it on TV, you're attracted to it, you start practicing. Well, there's a lot of stuff that's changed over 30 years. We used to have more parties, a lot more parties, I guess. There were no real events as such. There were no real competitions as such, maybe 1 or 2 a year or something. Our ignorance was higher because most of us were between, I guess, 12 and 18. I was at the low end, I was like 12 when I first discovered it. So we just watched and copied, so we had no real understanding of the culture. Of course, over the years you meet people, you find out what things are about and stuff. But nowadays, obviously, you find out about the culture almost before you get good. You know what I mean? So in my day, you got good, then you found out about the culture. And it's the other way around now, I guess. There's more education, you can contact pioneers, you can talk to who the hell ever you want these days. Those days, you got 3 seconds on a video to copy, and anyone who came over from America, they were here and you were here, you know? So it was like, you didn't have much contact unless you were very lucky, and the ones that were lucky held the information, you know. So the dance has evolved, as anybody with a brain can tell. The quality of some dance has gone up, the quality of some dance has gone down. I'm not going to comment about which is which. I don't really care. The DJing side, I mean, I don't know, I mean, I've been DJing 26 years now, 26 or 27, whatever. In my day, you had to pay dues, basically. So when you started off, and the people that kind of brought you up would diss you. So you have a go, and they'd be like, yeah, you're fucking up, just get off, you know? And this kind of built a strength of character and the drive to be better, to be decent, to get to their level, do you know what I mean? Nowadays, I think these kids, they want to be maybe popular, maybe they weren't good dancers, I don't know. But they still want to be involved in the scene, and they download the music, they don't really research music or care about the DJ culture. It's like the equivalent of and I don't want to diss them or anything, but like a choreo dancer and an underground dancer. A choreo dancer can just copy, right? But they can't freestyle, they don't even want to dig deeper into the culture of what they're doing. It's just like some movements, whatever. And the DJs these days, it's a bit like that. They know how to press play, they don't know how to DJ. You hear some of them DJ at after party or something, and they play all the big bangers, but it's not a journey. It's just at one level, like this. It's just like, It's too much. A night is meant to be like a rhythm and go up and down. There's a time for everyone to be dancing, there's a time for everyone to be chilling, there's a time, you know? It should be like this. Everyone dancing all night, it's a bit crazy, you know? Or at least it should change. Like these guys are dancing, then they're sitting down, and other guys are dancing, then they're sitting down, and you know? It should be a little bit more like this, and not just like, you know? The other thing is, a lot of these DJs, these young DJs, they're, I call them karaoke DJs. So, they maybe see a competition and whatever the DJs are playing in the final, that becomes part of their playlist. So they have all this collection of good DJs music, but they don't have any music of their own, right? So they play like what I would consider a final song in the prelims and stuff. They don't understand that there's a, it's like battling. You don't just bring out all your big moves in the first round, you know. It's like, why would you do that? When you get to the final, what you're gonna have left, you know? There's moves for finals, there's moves for prelims, I just need to get through, you know, there's moves for the first round, there's moves when this guy's battling me, you know? Or there should be. I mean, I don't know if anyone thinks of strategies like this, but there should be. You just shouldn't throw just anything at anybody, you know? If it's a dialogue. If it's a communication, there needs to be some communication. It's not just, oh, he does this thing, I just do my thing. There's no point of comparison, so it's pointless, you know? There has to be some, he does that, oh, I got a bit of that, and yeah, okay. And I'll reply, and it makes sense, you know?
Adaptation.
Yeah, it's like, right now the competitions are a bit mismatched for me, so it's like, one guy goes out, does his thing, another guy goes out, does his thing. Judge. What am I comparing? There's only one thing to compare, and that's quality of movement, because he didn't reply to him, he didn't ask him, you know. It's like, this is where the bias comes in, this is where the judge's own opinion comes in, you know, like, I prefer this, or, well, that looks clearer to me, and it's more than that, it should be more than that, you know what I mean? There should be some dialogue, you know. Storm talks about it a lot, and for me it was always like that. Someone did something and you replied to it. It was always question, reply. Even in the DJ thing, the scratching, someone does and you go and then you go, you know, there's like a journey that you're both a part of, right? Now it's just like da 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 da. It's like, okay, are we talking here? What's happening? I don't know what's going on. So this is missing for me. And this is really something you learn in like a party environment, you know, where it is a lot of exchange and all this sort of stuff. It's still like battling, but your battle is based on exchange. I see what you got, I'm gonna do better than that. And then you see what I got, then you're gonna do better than that, you know? With constant journey, I hate that word. Yeah.
Build up, yeah.
Yeah, that goes somewhere, and it's just not, it'd be like a popper versus a b-boy. Like, how do you compare the two? I guess who's got the harder moves or something, you know? It's like, how can you do that? It doesn't really make sense unless you're just judging quality of movement, and that's it. And that's just one criteria, it makes no sense to me. Competition dancing and social dancing are two different things, okay? There seems to be a mix-up, especially with the older generation that don't really understand the competition circuit so much. They judge it and stuff, but they don't understand it. And I don't know if they're even trying to understand it. Dancing socially is just do whatever you want. Mix styles, experiment, lay on the floor if you want, you know? It doesn't matter. But in a competition, if you don't have criteria and you don't have standards, it just makes no sense. Like, the gymnastics and all this, they've taken it a little bit maybe too far. You know, with point this and point that, and you have to do this and you have to do that. That's too far. But somewhere in the middle, is a good competition format for what we do. There needs to be requirements, for example, and there needs to be standards. You have to be a particular standard, whether it's in your form or your moves or your movement. There needs to be some kind of standards, or else it's just random judging, man. People talk about robberies, but it's just like, it's not robberies, it's just that the judges don't know what they're looking for or looking at. You know, they use these kind of funny words like, I don't know, man. I just hear all these funny words that don't actually mean anything, right? So, without criteria, what do you expect them to say? Do you know what I mean?
Freestyle judging.
Yeah, it's freestyle judging, right? It's like, yeah, you know, he was more, he had more fire. What does that mean? How does more fire be the winning criteria? This makes no sense. What happens if I'm in a chilled mood, but I'm still funkier than him? Oh, there's another one. Oh, he's more funky. What does that mean? That he did his neck more, or what does it actually mean? If your neck goes out 3 centimeters, is that better than 2 centimeters? And definitely better than 1. It's like, what are you talking about? It's not the dance, it's the world right now. Everybody wants the quick thing right now. It's just everywhere you look around, you know? Nobody wants to do the groundwork anymore because there's so many shortcuts you can take, right? But it just means that you don't last, because doing the homework on any art, whether it's football or dance or what the hell ever, it builds a good base. It builds a I'll give my DJing as an example. When I first started, I used to practice like 5 hours a day or whatever, right? Hours and hours and hours and hours. These skills will never leave me. No matter how old I am, I will always have these skills because they're in my muscle memory. They're like, it's there forever, right? I'll always be able to do a windmill because I did them so many times when I was a kid, right? Over and over. They may not have the same quality. It's okay, I can live with that. But I'll always have the mechanical understanding of that move, right? Never leave me. If I just took some crazy shortcut, it will leave you because it's not ingrained in your system, right? So if you care about a culture, then it's your responsibility to do as much research as you can on that culture. That's all I can say. Dedication, to care about the thing that you do, I mean, there's things that are nice but that are not necessary, like passing on the information, because if our scene's to grow, we need to share. You don't share everything, you have to have some secrets, right? But we need to share to get other people interested. We need to show off a bit to get other people interested. And yeah, just try and do the right thing, man. And whatever you do, try and do the right thing. Sometimes you have to be a bit harsh, but the ultimate goal should be to make someone better, you know, to uplift what we do. But there is a time for being a little bit, that's fucking shit. Do you know what I mean? Because this is a street culture. This is something that demands excellence, you know. Again, it's different from dancing socially in the club or whatever. But to be good at what you do, you have to make some sacrifices. You have to cry sometimes, you know, frustration. You have to go through this journey of not understanding things sometimes and like fighting for the understanding. Yeah, it's a struggle. Life's a struggle. So dance will be no different, you know. These kids need to get paid, man. Really. Our scene needs to stop thinking in an underground way. It's killing us. When I think of b-boying right now, it's mismatched. We have some companies like Red Bull and that are putting a lot of money and putting on these great events to promote what we do, and at the other end we're getting less and less b-boys. We're getting less and less people that are into it, right? I remember 10 years ago, maybe less, I could go to Korea, for example, and there were like 20 crews that were like world class, like easily. Now it's like 3. Something, yeah, really. It's a crisis in our scene nobody talks about. The same in America. There was like 20 crews, more, but really high level, hardcore, you know, Ground Zero, Havakuro, Renegades, Skill Methods, like loads of them. Now, it's like 3. And a lot of these kind of like mixed up crews, you know? 2 guys from here, 1 guy from here, and all this crap. And this is a crisis. I understand that some of the guys from the time when I was looking, they got older, they grew up, they got married, they, you know, life goes on. But the bottom's fallen out, there's no one to replace them. Do you know what I mean? Like, where's the... I remember going to events in America and you'd see these little kids, right? And they all grew up to be people. I'm not really seeing that so much anymore. The kids that are kids, they're already trying to be in movies and TV and all this sort of stuff. And I wonder if they'll last, because it just doesn't work like that, you know what I mean? This is what I'm seeing anyway. Like, we don't have a next generation right now. I think of France even, there's like 3 crews again that are really high level, you know? Before, France was crazy, man. Crazy. So, I would like for maybe more schools to be opened, right? To attract kids and to teach them the right way, so we can just have some new blood. And for b-boys to start supporting their own scene and get off the internet, you know what I mean? Like, to travel, to go to events, to not leave the event when you come out in the first round. You know, this kind of stuff. It's the worst, man. It's like, really? Why don't you just stay and just enjoy? Enjoy watching the winners win, you know? And then make that be the fire that makes you come back to beat them. Not this kind of like, oh, we lost, let's get out of here. It's so whack, man. So whack. Yeah, I remember back in the day when those movies came out, Break-In and all these movies, they were cheesy, you know? The mainstream thought they were cheesy. If you look at the way they promoted them, it was like B-movie level, you know? Of course now we're like, wow, they're classics, blah, 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 blah. But at the time, they weren't thought of like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, what's cheesy for us today is not cheesy for some kid that sees it as like, wow, look at this amazing stuff. That gets interested in the culture, just like we did, and then finds out more about it, you know? I prefer for 1,000 people to go, wow, and then we keep 10, than for nobody to see it, you know? This makes no sense to me. Like, the saying, many are called and few are chosen, is very true. But we need as many people to see it, to get called, right? So that the percentage of people that stay is still high. That's what we need. We need more promotion of what we do. People need to be more professional. They need to stop being so
hateful.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, be more involved, be more involving. You know what I mean? I mean, I teach a crew, and it's like 18 people. Now, if every old schooler did that, we'd have an alright, decent scene, do you know what I mean? And that's just the start of it. So imagine now that each of my guys, okay, maybe not each of them, but say 5 of them do the same thing. That's still a lot of people. Yeah? You're gonna get a nicer growth. Whereas if it's just like, they all go on about their lives and blah blah blah, which is no problem, then there's no legacy, it's done. It stops with Soul Mavericks, that's it. Over. That's really a waste of effort, man. You know? If a couple of them do it, it's great. We'll have another 30 kids, let's say, in the next generation. And then they'll have another 60 kids or 120 kids or whatever. So we can keep something growing. Like, give back and just keep it moving, man. Just keep it positive and keep it moving. Music to be danceable music. Like, we need a certain energy in the music for it to be danceable. For a while the music was just like maybe too slow or something. There was something missing. I mean, this is what killed breaking off. One of the things that killed breaking off in the late 80s, early 90s, the music changed. So it wasn't suitable for breaking to. The boom bap came in, so it was more about this. You don't break to that stuff, it makes no sense. Do you know what I mean? It's too slow, it's too, especially on the competition format, it just doesn't work for me. The music always informs the dance, right? So when that happened, I remember Storm said to me once that one of the reasons they kept breaking is because of the music that we were making in the UK, which was still hard and fast, right? And it made sense. It was samples from breaks, right? With fast rapping, fast scratching and everything. So they kept breaking because that music was still feeding them. Do you know what I mean? So the music has to be to feel a certain way to keep these dances alive. And maybe Kendrick Lamar and these guys are going back to that feel, so that we can find new music that's danceable. Because the YouTube beatmaker music, I think it's whack, man. Do you know what I mean? I do play some of it, but some people play just whole sets of that stuff. It's just a headache. It's like, do you know what I mean? We need some music that's got that nice groove, so it doesn't destroy the dance. And I don't mean to stop evolution of dance, right? It's just that there should be certain things at the heart of your dance that make it recognizable, or else it's a different dance, you know? For me, crump is a hip-hop dance, right? And when they first started, it was to hip-hop music, but it went so far its own way, it became a different dance, yeah? So even though it's a hip-hop dance style, it's not hip-hop freestyle dance style. It's its own thing. So when you cross that line, you should become your own thing. And now they have their own music for their own thing. You know, this makes sense for me. Whereas some people are trying to do something else with hip-hop freestyle, and it's becoming something else, which is experimental, which is fine, but it's separate from hip-hop freestyle. Do you know what I mean? Like, rocking and breaking are cousins or the son of one or whatever, whichever way you want to think of it, but they have different names, so they're identifiable. Oh, that's rocking, this is breaking, and that's locking. Same music, right? For the most part, but they're different styles to this music. Now we have experimental dancers in hip-hop freestyle competition, but it hasn't got the groove on that, the stuff that Elite Force and that talk about. It's missing this thing, so it should just call itself something different, right? You wouldn't get a b-boy entering a rocking competition or a locking competition doing breaking, because it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So hip-hop freestyle dance should be its own thing with its boundaries, parameters or whatever. And if it wants to evolve in a different direction, then they should call it something else. Just have their own category with their own music, the YouTube beatmaker music or whatever. And just, yeah, they can all coexist. It's just the bleeding is a bit weird, right? It's a bit strange for me. Like, I want to see. I did some stuff recently on Top Rock or whatever. There was a competition and I was judging people doing salsa and house steps and all this, and I posted about it, and there was like responses and that, because people don't really understand. I'm not saying don't do whatever you want, I'm just saying in a competition format with a name and a title, do that style, or else you're not going to advance if I'm judging. I'm not going to make exception You know what I mean? I prefer to go for someone generic in the style than someone who's doing another dance style. Just makes no sense to me, right? Right? Just enter a salsa competition or a house competition. Oh, but your house isn't good enough. You're just bleeding because you're not good enough at these dances, you know? It's just like, oh, just throw everything in. Just do the damn thing, you know? Do what the title says. It's simple. Keep it simple. If I was to give a real answer, it would have to be the community, right? I've been in this scene 30 years and I made a lot of friends in the scene that are close to me, do you know what I mean? So I've known them, some of them for 20 years and I could see them and we're like, I saw you yesterday, but it could be a year ago, do you know what I mean? So these experiences, especially places like IBE and that, where I see everyone, it's like, there's the mainstream work. I work in a normal job, computer engineer, and then there's this other world where the people that I'm with understand. Do you know what I mean? They get it, and that's the best. You know, I can talk to these people about something that we all get. So I have a nice balance. I have this life, and then I have the other life. 50% left, 50% left. If it becomes too much of one or the other, I think your life's out of balance. You know, so if you're too much in this world, that's when you turn into a diva and you get a bit crazy, right? And if you're too much in this world, then you're too corporate and you become a drone, just walking through life like a robot. 9 to 5, go home, fuck the wife, go to bed, wake up 9 to 5, go home, fall asleep in front of the TV. You know, it's like, it's drone life. And this life, mix them and I'm good. I'm good. Knuckleheads, Cali and Ginger. It was like, I mean, you have to watch the battle. If you weren't there, you wouldn't understand. But I remember finishing DJing that 10-minute battle or whatever, a 15-minute battle, and I was sweating. That's how involved it was. Like, the whole room was involved. The dancers, the energy's like this the whole time. There's no ebb and flow. It's just like, right? It was like maybe one of my favorite sets even. You know, just completely off the top of the head and just like, let's keep it going. Oh man, these guys are on it. Oh my days. You know? Sometimes you lose the connection. It's normal, right? It's just another aspect of what we do. But sometimes the connection's so perfect, and that was one of those days. Yeah. There's been a few others. There's been like Pokemon versus Drifter's Crew and all this kind of stuff. There's been other battles that were the connection's perfect. Do you know what I mean? I mean, the amount I do, it's gonna happen sometimes. But that one was really memorable. That's too hard, man. I mean, I've been to a lot of countries, over 40 now, and every one of them has their magic, you know? I like to travel, I like to hear new languages, I like to see different things, you know? So, yeah, Mexico was dope, but so was Malaysia, you know? And China's dope, but so is Russia. For all different reasons, you know? Even if it's like a funny, nostalgic reason, like, I'm really into like Second World War and stuff like that. So when I go to Russia, I get that feeling, right? Like it's really like still in the Second World War and like the Cold War and stuff. You still have this feeling about that place, the language and that, right? So I've had some good experiences. I haven't had any bad experiences. I just kept it moving. The best crowd. There's loads, man. There's loads. You can't imagine the energy at somewhere like Battle of the Year when 15,000 people are just like, and you feel this wall of energy, right? but then a little dingy club with 50 people and everybody's jamming, you know, it's the same feeling, it's different, but it's the same, do you know what I mean? Because it's about that connection, it's about that response to what you're doing. You know, I'm not just playing music just for the hell of it, it's not just for me or whatever, this weird concept. It's like, you're trying to take people on a journey, and if they come with you, it's the best. You know, it doesn't always work. That's life, right? But if they come on with you, that's what's the best thing. And you get that a lot. You know, more often than not. Because I guess now, if someone comes to listen to you, they know what to expect. You know, so you don't really throw them for a loop. It's not like if I went to a club and then they started playing some Rihanna or something, and everybody's like, what's Renegade doing? What's going on? You know? They kind of know they're going to get some underground stuff, some nice mixing, a bit scratching, you know? So usually I can do okay. It's the same. Again, I finish sets in a club and I know that it was the one, you know? And you literally are sweating. And you're like, whoa, did I go for a run? Your body's warm and you're loose, you know what I mean? That connection, man, it's the one, really. Yeah. And you feel it because no one's perfect, right? You feel when you lose people for a bit. But what some DJs do that are immature, they try and get it back by playing a big tune. This is a child's way. You have to just take them back, you know? Like softly, slowly, and get them with you. Don't take the shortcuts. Reading. Yeah. Reading, writing. I like to write a lot. I've got a lot of things going on in my life. I teach a bunch of crews, so I'm always trying to think of new ways or new things to introduce to them. You know, it's starting to extend more to the community because I'm getting to write these Red Bull blogs. So any thoughts or whatever. I mean, you get criticism and that's cool, but a lot of people that criticize need to realize it's just your thoughts. You know, it's just like. It's an idea, it's not an order, right? I'm sharing something that I've lived, that I've experienced, and if it helps you, great. If not, ignore it, right? It is what it is, man. Traveling, good food, good music, rumpy pumpy. Lots of things. Study your art, man. Decide if you're a hobbyist or if you want to be that guy, that level. Decide which one and then do that one. Don't flip-flop between the two. You know? These art forms are about being the best. Hip-hop is about not being the best, but being the best. Do you know what I mean? That's the intention. You'll never be the best. There's no such thing. But it's that drive that keeps the engine running to be great, to be excellent, to be better than you were yesterday. All these like little buzzwords, you know, these Facebook memes, right? It is about that, to be dope, to be impressive, to be great at what you do, you know, to constantly improve, to keep pushing yourself and the people around you, the people that hang with you, to share the culture and to be good. Basically, to find your own thing. This thing we do, it's an expression. It's a way of communicating. It's a way of saying to the world, I exist, I am. Do you know what I mean? And you want to have that voice, because not all of us get to have that voice. So if this is a way, I know some dancers that are crazy high level, right? and like really expressive, but off of the dance floor they're quiet as a mouse. Alright? So without this outlet, what would happen to them? Do you know what I mean? You need this outlet, you need this this thing that you can express yourself through. Some people do it through art, some people do it through MMA, right? And ours is dance. It chooses us, we don't choose it. Even I was talking to Simona yesterday, and she was talking about, she just copied Britney Spears videos, right? So something called her, man, and she responded. If that's the first thing that calls you, so be it. You know, whereas someone else might say, oh, that shit. No, but sometimes it's just part of your journey. Don't cut people's journey. Don't tell people what their journey should be. Right? You can kind of try and steer them and help them, but let them discover it themselves, you know. Prompt them, but don't force them. Because some people start with Britney Spears and end up with Elite Force, do you know what I mean? It is what it is. Some people start with Battle of the Year and end up with New York. You know, Battle of the Year isn't set in New York and has little to do with the actual culture that gave birth to this, but it's part of the journey. Let them start where they start, and you know, that's it. Do your thing. Sometimes the journey's more enjoyable. If you get the straight answers, the right answer straight away,
the magic's gone.
Gone. But when you discover it, every new layer, and you're like, whoa, I didn't know that. And it's more exciting, you know, like, oh, I didn't know that. And then things make sense. And you see you know, it's much more interesting, man. Getting all the answers easy peasy is the discovery. You discover yourself as well in that process. You discover